Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Computer Wednesday, we're going to talk about SteamOS and its future scope. So let's dive deep into it. So what exactly we are talking about? We are talking about this puppy. This puppy was launched in February 2022. So a few years old at this point in time. And when I'm making this video, as in like recently 22 May 2025, Valve released SteamOS 3.78. Yeah. Awesome name. Now, why it's a big deal? Well, here's the deal. When Steam started to make this, it was shocking to people that Steam is not just making a hardware where it just runs Windows. It's like they are trying to make their own OS. Now, again, Valve is a big company. Now, here's the deal. I do not mean big as in like the money they deal with or the amount of people they hire. It's just that money per people is like bonkersly high. Like you would be scared how much like if you take their profit and how many employees are there, you're like, bloody hell. So they are serious people. So basically, if that 300 or 400 group of serious people got into it, yeah, problem solved. So when they jumped into it and they're like, no, we're gonna make our own OS. And yes, it's their OS, it's not Linux. Linux is a kernel, not OS. So their OS, people are like, okay, why? Now here's the deal. To sweeten the pot, from day one, they were like, no, it's gonna be open for all other players, because at that point in time, as in like 2022, there were other companies that were making small portable handheld Windows PC. So they were like, okay, we're gonna support that x86 architecture without any hassle. It's just gonna be like a thing. We have Linux kernel, we're gonna use that and you should be able to port it. Now, they made the promise in 2020, they did not release it. As in like they are not what you call DRMing it or any blocking it. It's just that we are working on it. Our primary target is this puppy. And again, you have to acknowledge that they have made amazing progress. Basically, all the people who bought this in day one, they were like, yeah, I can see potential, but it's not there yet. Now they're like, damn. Like the amount of polish they put into it in last 2 years is like, damn. Like it went from, okay, at least 100 games will work to like, yeah, 1 or 2 games will not work, the popular ones, so to say. So that's a very big thing. And this is the first time a console operating system, like a console has operating system, like Xbox has its own operating system, Sony PlayStation has its own operating system, that is made open to hardware vendors, meaning Asus can build it, Lenovo can build it, Mini PC can build it, whoever else wants to build it, they can build it. So that's a very big change, where it's like, okay, we built it, we sold it, enough of them were sold that people were interested, and at this point in time, it's mind-boggling that you can literally buy at the site of ROG and at the site of Lenovo a hardware that says, do you want Windows or do you want SteamOS? That happened. That's like, that has never happened. Like, that's like, no, this is the first time that happened. So that's a big deal. Now, we must understand what the hell is wrong with Windows, because again, if Windows was there, Windows was the gaming operating system, why the heck such a big gaming vendor is like, yeah, we have to let go of Windows. So we have to understand some context. Windows started, the first operating system, Microsoft Disk Operating System, that puppy started in August 1981. Yeah, it's old. Like people sometimes forget this, like, yeah, Windows is old. And alongside of IBM PC. Now be mindful, this time, as in like 1970s, hardware and software is almost like a package deal, meaning you have to buy the hardware from this company has a catalog of softwares, that's it. But Microsoft changed that, and that's why they are called like the PC revolution. Basically, no matter how much you hate them, you cannot deny that they changed the ecosystem. You and I are here literally because this PC revolution happened. And what was the critical aspect for that? Non-exclusive licensing, meaning there were Apple PC, there were other companies also they were making it, but it was very locked in. Here it was like non-exclusive, my man. You can make the hardware, go you own it. If you can run it, run it. It was as simple as that. If you can run it, just pay us the license for the software, as in like the key, so to say, and go you own it. And that created, basically, the fact that happened is like IBM sold a PC. Compaq is like, we can replicate that. Compaq sold the PC. It's like, okay, Compaq is like, okay, we made the hardware, we put so much effort into the goddamn hardware. What's we gonna run on it? MS-DOS. Ta-da! So brick by brick, because more and more hardware was sold, more and more people jumped into this MS-DOS, the more and more software ecosystem was created, be it Adobe, be it Autodesk, be it SolidWorks, be it whatever else. Like you would be shocked how deep the Microsoft catalog is. Like people go, oh, Mac and nothing, like there is nothing. Like it's like the list is so long versus like, I have 5 or 6 applications running on here. That's how long it is. Like the world's largest software ecosystem ever was created for this. Like, and the benefit was, it was a self-fulfilling prophecy, meaning the more hardware was made on IBM PC. That's why early days people used to kill IBM compatible. So IBM compatible PCs were made. The more people used MS-DOS, the more people used MS-DOS, more vendors, software vendors were like, if we write our code, basically Adobe was like, hey, if we wrote our Photoshop to run on this reliably, more people will buy it. And tada, it worked. So it created a self-fulfilling cycle. The more people put into it, the more users came into it, the more users came into to target that users, more software people came into it, the more hardware was sold, because hey, you can buy this computer and you can do things into it. So all of this created what we call self-fulfilling prophecy, and profit plus more. So it was a mind-bogglingly amazing time. And there's a reason why Bill Gates was so rich for so long. Like, trust me when I say this dude was like, the throne of the richest person was on his lap for way too long. It was like, bruh, I'm rich. It's like, next year, I'm still rich, bruh. 10 years later, I'm still rich. It's like, damn. So that's there. And fundamentally, what did that result? It resulted in an undisputed champion for few decades. At this point in time, you can say Android technically has the largest penetration, but like until very recently, as in like 2015, so to say, is like, like flat out, there was nothing. There is no competition against this. And here's the deal. Okay, if the companies were that good, Microsoft was that good, what the hell happened? Well, they lost the drive and polish. There used to be a time, not even joking, that Microsoft actually had a building. In that building, there was a floor. In that floor, they literally had a hardware testing lab. And what did they do? They just bought random things. They bought MSI, they bought Gigabyte, they bought like all those things. They bought AMD, they bought that, and they ran the operating system. Does it work? Does it actually, the actual hardware, they were testing it. Then they just let it go. Now, why did that happen? Well, you have to understand, as a company gets older, there will be a time where Gen 1 CEO would be retired or step down or something like that will happen. The moment that happens, company starts to reach into what we call shaky grounds. Some companies can recover from this, but majority company loses their focus, so to say. So this is at third CEO at this point in time. And they reached a point where it's like, number must go up, meaning it's no longer good enough for them to like, hey, I made $100 million. No. You have to make 101 million next year. And you have to make 102 million year after that. And you will be like, okay, that cannot be done. Ironically, the bigger the company is, the more problematic this statement becomes. Because as you are a growing company, it's quite easy to exponentially grow. It's just once you reach saturation, there is no more growth. So they reached that point. Microsoft, Windows reached that point. There was no growth. Like every computer was a Windows computer. What else you can do? So, but again, CEOs were keeping, the CEO was poofed out in February 2014. So they're like, okay, we have to increase the profit. So they're like, okay, what if we put advertisement on a paid product? Ta-da! And you were like, okay, I'm buying laptop, I'm not buying Windows. No, you are buying Windows because the company is buying license. That's their primary breadwinner, so to say. And they started to put telemetry just to flex in the earning calls. We have so much data and we have this and that and big data. This was the ecosystem, big data. So they're like, we add this and that, and fundamentally just to do line go up. And even with all that hassle, operating system went into lower priority. Why? Other money makers started to come in. First, Azure. Azure was really good for Microsoft's point of view. As you can see, like it takes a big chunk. 31% of revenue is massive. And another chunk is Microsoft Office products. Although I do not think this Office product will last way too long, because more and more people are switching to Chrome OS, kids specifically, and more features parity is almost achieved at this point in time. It's just PDF is not very easily doable in Google as of now, and Adobe as scalable vector graphics. But other than that, almost everything is there, almost. And another aspect is why Microsoft Office is such a big deal is because it's monthly subscription. Per month you have to buy. So fundamentally that makes their profit much sweeter. And again, that's why they opened it for Mac. So they're making such a large chunk of money from these two puppies. They are not focusing on tiny puppy known as Windows. And it's not that big. So you have Xbox, you have LinkedIn, and you have Bing, you have Microsoft Enterprise Services, you have Microsoft Surface lineup, and you have Microsoft Dynamics 365. So you get the point. Basically, the portion of effort is paying into this is going down drastically. And just to make sure that this branch does not get permanently deprecated, they're like, no, we're going to put more ad. We're going to have Bing opening up every time, because F the customer who's actually paying for it. So this is why Windows went from like really good to like, laying the foundation of on what we stand at today to like, yeah, we need to ditch the ship as quickly as possible. Start was very good. It's just they lost the plot. Now, Okay, then what the hell happened with Linux? Well, Linux is not an operating system. For some reason, I have no idea why people are not getting it, especially the nerdy people. It's like, dude, you know it better than a Linux is not operating. I cannot give you Linux to like do things with it. It's a kernel. You need to build operating system on top of it. So Linux kernel is used in almost 100% of our backend, meaning if you are doing anything, there is a good chance it goes into some server. There is a very good chance, like ludicrously high chance that it is running Linux kernel, so to say. That is true. And again, a lot of Internet of Things devices, a lot of scientific things, and many other things. Now, ironically, manufacturing is not in them for some reason. I have no idea why the heck, but there are people running factories, robotics on Windows XP. Not even joking. Not even joking. You should find it out. And there have been many attempts. People were like, and be mindful, NASA is one of the players who are dumping money into basically Linux kernel. So it's like a lot of people say, hey, this kernel is good. A lot of people are working on it. And again, back end, if the whole internet is trusting on this, why not just make this into a full-fledged operating system? Well, people tried. A lot of people tried. That was the problem. A lot of people tried. Ta-da! You had Ubuntu, Fedora, Arch, basically this much poop. And yes, if you have that many, that is a bad thing. That's fundamentally bad thing. That means all of them are garbage. It's almost like a natural selection kind of scenario where it's like at the early stage, you're going to have thousands of options. Then majority going to die out and then you're going to have a few winners. Here, it's like all of them are losers because there are so many. And all of them failed to gain substantial market penetration. Why they did not get it? Because here still, you're not going to type how to do this in Linux. You're going to type out how to do, let's say, link the folder using Windows Samba or into Ubuntu, right? Let's say you want to make a folder available to Windows machine, and you type it, you'll barely get few tutorials, and half of them will be complaining, and other half would be like, yeah, this is why I actually use, let's say, Mint. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to Mint. Mint will have some other problem, like good luck trying to find printer driver. You type it there, it's like, yeah, this is the reason why I use, what else? Let's just Arch Linux. This is why I use Arch Linux. So like, it always goes like that. Microsoft Windows has problem. There is no discussion about it. But everybody has problem with that. That's the good part about it. Everybody tries to solve it. Everybody needs to type it. And they're like, ta-da, every single problem, every single error code, you will find more than enough material on it to solve it. All of them. So fundamentally, this is the reason why none of this managed to have any tangible market potential. There was a good small time, as in like, let's say 2010, there was a sweet window where everybody was like Ubuntu. People were started to say Ubuntu, not Linux, Ubuntu. But I have no idea what happened. It's like just it scattered or whatever have you. And again, Linux at this point in time, the kernel is limited to people who are getting paid to deal with. For example, one of my friend has to deal with Red Hat. He deals with it. Why? Because he's getting paid to deal with it. As simple as, and nerdy people do that. For example, I'm experimenting with electronics and all that. That's not a normal thing to do. It's like, it's a niche kind of thing. Same way I enjoy that working with electronics. Other people enjoy working with different operating systems. Have fun. It's enjoyable. But it's not normal. Normal being mathematical average. It's not. And fundamentally, there is no paid ecosystem because again, companies like Adobe, DaVinci, or whatever have Autodesk, they cannot like, okay, I'm making it for Ubuntu. They're like, yeah, sir. In this giant pie of 100%, there is 1% people who are using these sort of thing. In this, none of them have big enough share to justify development for the paid software. None of them. So that creates an issue where there is, no paid app ecosystem. That means to poor adoption because here's the, I'm working with inventor of CV engine, Ron Vorgley, and he is working in Siemens NX. Siemens NX is not supported in any other operating system, latest one, like flat out, not even Mac. Like just no. There are many engineering packages like that where you're not going to fight with it. It's like, does it work on Windows? Yes. Done. No discussion. You're not going to go into Boeing. It's like, oh, Boeing, you are using this software package. It works, only on Windows. You should switch. They're not going to switch. They're going to switch you out. So people have learned it the long way that because of that self-fulfilling prophecy, just stick with it. And again, none of them, because again, if there was just one, there could have been a chance where it's like, hey, let's just create a port of this software. It's just not. And because of that poor adoption, and company can only take the core, basically kernel, the core, not this, the kernel core, and they can make their own paid product out of it. And again, that has worked. A lot of amazing work has done been Android. Android started with that core. Chrome OS literally started with that core. Other backends or other companies are making money. But again, they are not Linux. They are their product. That's why people don't say, oh, Android started as Linux. No, Android is Android because Google paid money into it. So this is the fundamental problem. This many is the problem. If they were like Ubuntu, the end, it might have become successful, but that not to be. However, Steam breaks that cycle. Why? Valve makes money by selling games, right? So what is in his best interest? His best interest is more people should buy games. Okay, cool, awesome. So he's like, okay, how can I make sure that people are gonna have awesome experience? While I am like GG in computer gaming, I'm not GG in portable. Okay, let's make a portable hardware. That's a not that difficult task. Like you can just pick up a phone and you like at least have 5-6 original equipment manufacturers like, bro, I got you. I'm gonna have you a test piece by like 3-4 months. I'm not even joking. So he's like, okay, got this. Then what is the problem right now? Why didn't every company do that? Well, gaming experience is linked to operating system polish, meaning like back in the old days of XP, they would have had like, whoa. Now it's like, even though horsepower of hardware is huge, the software is so goddamn bloated, so unpolished. It's like, dude, it's a portable device. It has to be good with battery life. It has to go into shutdown when you actually shut the damn thing down, or hibernate. It does not work. And Microsoft just does not care. Unless it bricks too many of it, they do not care. So he created a scenario like he can make a hardware, and that hardware will allow him to sell a lot of games, which will allow him to make even more profit. It's just that he can't do that because operating system does not have the polish, and portable device requires much higher level of polish. So he's like, what if I made the experience better? Let that be very clear. Not the hardware better, not the software better, experience better. More people will buy the system. And you're like, how do we know this will happen? Well, again, why do you think people buy Nintendo? It just works. Why do you think people buy Xbox? It just works. Why do you think people buy PlayStation? It works. So we know the absolute reality of it. If the experience is better, people will willingly pay for it. So it's like, okay, so hardware needs a good operating system. Hardware does not matter. Software does not matter. Both of them making love together, that matters. That's what we call experience. So he's like, okay, what if we make the operating system in-house? He take the kernel and then he work their ass off, like figure out the drivers, figure out the everything that is needed to be done in order to make sure the operating system is stable. Now that's easy. Any small scale company can do that. It's just that how the heck you make sure your portfolio works. Then they did something very simple. Linux people have been trying to take wine and have a good translation layer, because this company has bonkersly well-paid people working in there. They're like, okay, it's your task. Make this happen. They worked on translation layer, and I have seen this. Like I've seen this for the last 2 years, where it's like, oh, only this games work. Like the green ticks, and it's like, oh, this many games work well. This one. Now it's like, yeah, 1 or 2 game has this weird issue. Other than that, it just works. Like literally, that happened in 2-3 years, where it went from barely working to like it just works. Why? Translation layer. And the optimum part about translation layer is that, as you make it better, is like, oh, this API call is getting tripped up because of this error, you fix that. And again, this is exactly how Compaq made a clone of IBM without actually violating copyright. It's like, yeah, we did not together. It's just like you shared the instruction for the developers. We copied that instruction. It's like a very deep dive. Some people have done that. It's amazing. So it's like, okay, how the heck your game wants the hardware, access to the hardware? We're going to emulate that path. And tada, it works. It's basically what Mac did when they jumped from x86 to ARM, and they're just like, okay, we're not going to deal with it. We're just going to have a translation layer. We have enough horsepower that we can deal with it. And they had enough smart people to deal with it. So this actually made it work. Like the translation layer improves. Now here's the deal. Imagine a world where they sold 100,000 of that, which they did. Now imagine a world where they sold 1 million of this. That is so many devices, paid devices, where people are paying for the games. They are like, hey, gaming studio, it will be in their best interest to buy few Steam Decks and run the game on their goddamn hardware. Work with Steam team to basically Valve team to make sure that any issues are sorted out. And basically, you can use Steam Deck as a dev kit, which again, if you wanted to make a game for Xbox, you had to get the dev kit. You're just not like, okay, I'm going to run it on there. But here you can do that. It's like, hey, let's make sure it works or not. At least do not have any game-breaking bug. Okay, you don't put so much money as you would put in your Windows installation, but at least put some effort. And given the fact that it's one hardware, it's not that difficult. So it gives even more polished experience. So you could literally see that in only few years. Like, be mindful, they have only 2 years down and they're making amazing progress. I could easily see 3 to 5 years from now, it's like every game studio is like, yeah, available on SteamOS. Because again, people are like, hey, there's just one extra hardware. So many people are buying it. Just polish for it. And the moment they make it open for other hardware, this is where their self-fulfilling prophecy comes in. The more hardware will be there, the better hardware choice will be. So more hardware vendors will have that, and more competition with pricing will happen. Meaning, instead of like, oh, I could spend boatload of money to get, let's say, Nintendo hardware, or I can get a full-fledged computer that fits in my hand. And it actually works. Not like, again, Windows can do that. It's just that the battery life would be lol. Here, it will be useful. And again, it's a computer that plays games. and you can do some computer stuff with it also. So that is a very amazing idea of opening the operating system. And and in this allows them to basically bail out. They can be just like, yeah, we started this, the ball started to get rolling, and then we are just like, I'm out. They can actually drop the whole Steam Deck thing, meaning the hardware, not the software. They must make sure the software is good. So I'm pretty sure they're gonna pour money into it like there is no tomorrow, because again, that multiplies the money. So they're gonna keep doing that. And again, they can still have it like a small trickle. Basically, if you look into what is the Google Pixel share versus all other phone, you will understand, right? It would be something similar. So they can that if and again, because they are making targeted hardware, meaning nobody's going to complain, oh, this gaming console does not have printer drivers. Nobody's going to complain about that. And if it does have printer hardware, let's just say some future update they added printer hardware, it's like, hey, you can print from this. People are like, whoa. You can use Windows, you can use NVIDIA graphics card with this. Whoa. Yeah, in the early days did not, because it's a AMD hardware Mark 1 product. So they're like, okay, AMD is supported, NVIDIA, they are working on it. So everything they are doing would be added to it. It won't be like, oh, it's missing this. No, it's a gaming device. First, it works, it's polished, it's smooth, and it can do other things also. So this is the whole point. Limiting the scope, like this is a gaming device first, make sure that works, make sure the game hibernation works, make sure the battery consumption works, then worry about anything else. That's a very good thing. And expectations from the user side is also reasonable, because they are not expecting their let's say Nintendo console to do things. But here it's like, hey, I can do things in this, it's like I have a gaming console that can do things. So that's amazing things. And every extra is like, hey, you can run, let's just say DaVinci Resolves. People are like, hey, we should make money on this. They start porting. It's like, you know what? You can do video editing on this. Some streamer will try that. I'm not joking. I guarantee it. So there is serious potential, because there's serious money. And if you ever want to freak out, figure out how many people are working in Valve and how much value they have each individually. You'll freak out. So what can we expect in the future? Well, at this point in time, there are only few people who are making Valve's life hard, simply because few anti-cheat software, they trigger red alert the moment they detect there is a translation error. Now, again, I get it, that's for anti-cheat, but damn, like, and again, this is why the sales volume matter. If more and more people start to play that, and they're like, what, I'm playing this weird game because, again, I would like to play Call of Duty. Call of Duty does not work on my hardware, and Activision will notice it, because, again, if enough of the sales volume is like, yeah, people are not buying it that much. Like, yeah, whoa, get your ass on the line, get this thing for game. Right now, they are not there yet. But those are the only few games. Like, flat out, you can like, oh, this popular game is not working. Yeah, it's anti-cheat. If it's a popular game and it's not working on Steam, 99% of the time, it's freaking anti-cheat system. So that's causing some friction as of now, as in like middle of 2025. And they are not far from crossover point. Crossover point being at future, some junction, let's just say 2030s, they can make a scenario where it's like, if you want to do game, like right now how people say, nah, you want to game, you game on basically Windows. They can say, if you want to game, just have SteamOS. And because SteamOS supports x86, which I'm reasonably sure if they want to, they can backport it to ARM architecture also. That will be like SteamOS for gaming. And because it's a full-fledged PC, more people will like, hey, I can port this also. So this is a very amazing thing. Whereas like handheld hardware, they started with that and they can make more money out of it. More vendors, more flexibility for buyer. People will like, hey, I do not want to buy this Steam Deck. It's too expensive. Somebody will make a cheaper one. I was like, you know what? I'm cool with this, but I want more oomph. Buy this. That's the whole point. And more of them will buy Steam games. The more profit for them. So fundamentally, they can get the ball rolling. And the next venture would be getting laptop people on board. Now, again, I do not expect HP or basically Lenovo laptop people jumping and making a laptop that works with that. But again, I can see Framework or System 76, those sort of people are like, hey, we also support officially, meaning actually work with that, make sure all the drivers are sorted, and you're just like, hey, it just works. You can these companies can actually say, hey, if you just want a gaming laptop, install this, it's just much better. Imagine that, like you have your Windows system, dual boot into SteamOS, have fun. That's a very, very big jumping point. Again, they are far away from that. I have not seen any inkling where that can happen, but it could happen. And gaming wise, again, they are very focused on gaming and they should get it in next 5 to 10 years. But in terms of laptop, if they jumped, it will not be hard. It won't be hard for companies to port. It's like, yeah, we can port it. If we have customers, we'll port it. And again, it's a much better ecosystem because again, no bloat of the history of 1980s history. So it's going to work. So fundamentally polished hardware, that would be a really good thing. And again, you want hardware to come in slowly, not just flood in, slowly. So there is some amazing potential here, like amazing. So this was a presentation on why the heck SteamOS is such a big deal, or why it has the potential to become a big deal. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.